going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Major Keyz podcast. My name is Zach Wilson, talking to keyboard players about music and life and everything in between. Today we have a special guest, Clarence T. Lee Hill.
What's good, man?
Man,
great to be here.
Everything and
thanks for asking me to come through.
Man, of course, bro. Man, your name has come up multiple times on here. Actually, yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
wow.
Just talking about the dope keyboard players like in Atlanta. Like your name has come up.
That's love, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, bro. But how goes life, man? What's up?
Man, life is good, man. Family, work, career. Just living, man, and making the most out of it.
That's what's up.
I'm living my best life right now, bro. Gone through some things, learned some things, and I can't complain.
I dig it. So yeah, bro, start from the top. Like, how did you get into playing, and just walk us through like young T. Lee and how you got here.
For sure. So according to my parents, I started playing when I was 2. I started playing drums when I was 2.
Okay.
Literally, I don't remember this, but they said that I was playing with my grandparents' quartet band.
Okay.
My quartet. I played drums with them for a few years, and I've always been into music. I grew up in a religious household, so sports and things weren't really a part of my life. So every day for me was sitting in my room with the door closed, playing drums to gospel songs.
Got you.
Did that, played in church, of course, and it was always drums. My dad played 3 instruments. His main instrument was bass. But he played keys too, and he played a little bit of drums.
Yeah.
So he had all these keyboards at the house. And around about the age of, I don't know, maybe like 12, I just decided that I wanted to play keys.
Okay.
I just decided that I liked keys. I think I felt like I had run out of things to play on drums, because at the time, drums was not what it is right now.
Like
the
really?
Stuff that these cats is playing on drums now, it wasn't even happening yet.
Okay.
So I felt like I had peaked out on drums, and I was like, man, I want to do more. I want to try keys. Jumped on keys, and I just kind of tinkered with it. Didn't know anything about it. Didn't know what a C was. It was just just listening.
Yeah.
It was all my ears. First song I think I learned was it was a prelude called "Wash Me Lord" from John P. Key. It was at the end of one of his albums. It was like a self-played ballad he played and sang.
Okay.
And I just really liked the movements in it and the chord structure and how he was moving. So I just decided to learn it. And for maybe like a year, that was the only thing I could play.
Oh wow.
And I would play it everywhere I went.
But you learned that like when you were 12.
Yeah,
13,
it's like 12, 13 years old. And so, and then at 15 was when I got more into playing the organ. A lady at a church that I was playing drums at, she saw me get on the keyboard after service one day. She was like, "Oh, you can play. Let me get you some lessons." She got me lessons with a guy by the name of Robbie Rivers, who started me out, playing organ, gave me some basic theory and some this was a Kojic church, so he kind of started me out with some of the essential Kojic, Yes Lord, and some of the hymns and stuff like that, and started playing at this church, man, and that started my journey on keys. I think I stayed there for about, maybe 5 or 6 years. Then I went to Gospel Tabernacle, which was off of Maynard Terrace. Wiley Jackson church is not there no more. I just went by there the other day. It's completely torn down. It's crazy.
And this is where, like Cartersville?
This is in Atlanta.
Okay,
off of 20,
got you.
Maynard Terrace.
Okay.
Gospel Tabernacle played there. That's where me and Justin Gilbert, we played there together. Me, Justin Gilbert, Jay Fly, was playing drums at the time. A good friend of mine, Josh Knight, he played bass. So I was there for a few years. That was a great experience. Taught me a lot. Learned a lot from playing with the homie Jay. He's an incredible musician as well. And Fly, both of them. Learned a lot from being with those guys. So I played there for a few years, and then in the middle of, I think I was there for like 2 or 3 years, and then I got called by my good friend D Major to go on the road with Tyler Perry's Meet the Browns play.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Did that for a couple of years. Stuff just kept branching off, man. I mean, long story short, I can go on and on with the stories, but
yeah,
the rest is history.
And here you are now.
It just keeps going, and created my band, the Four Korners.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get into
all that good stuff.
Yeah, bro. Yeah. So I've yet to do a play. So tell me like what that is like, especially at the caliber that Tyler Perry's like the.
Yeah, the play was fun, man. The play was fun. I played second keys on the play, so I was doing all of the color stuff. Mm-hmm. And it was fun because we had to come up with the moods for all of those different sections, and then doing some of the writing with the songs, and it's definitely different from just doing a show.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's still songs.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it's a great experience, man. And then being able to be around all of those different people, Tamala, man, I was able to co-write, co-produce a song with her and David and Terrell while I was out there. Did some work with Nikki Gilbert, like all of the people that were in the show, the celebrities. So I got a chance to create those relationships.
Yeah.
And then with Avery Sunshine, she came in halfway through that play and played and took the main keys show. This was before she was an artist. This was 2000 she came in 2005. The tour started in 2004.
Oh wow, got you. Okay.
Yeah. So she came around 2005, and that's how we kind of developed our relationship and got to know each other very well and become like brother and sister, man. Love her to death. So yeah,
man. So the play situation, y'all were basically scoring the show.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, it was some of the stuff was already kind of created, but as well though, when we got in rehearsals, there were things that we all created together as well. I can't remember the MD's name. I always try to remember. He was a bass player out of Dallas, I believe.
Yeah.
But D Major really was the guy that was putting a lot of the stuff together. D Major, I don't know if you know D Major.
I don't. No.
D Major, man, he's a keyboard player out of Atlanta as well. Great friend of mine, like I said, he was the one put me on. He played with Algebra before I started playing with Algebra. Mm-hmm. He was with her first, and that was my original acquaintance with him through Algebra.
Okay, Algebra Blessed, the R&B singer.
Yes.
For people that at home that don't.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, but great dude, incredible keyboardist, great. He was a producer first, really. Yeah. If you would know him, his production was crazy. I mean, at a point he was one of the guys, and I don't know, what happened and got him out of the circle of the industry as much as he was in it. But
yeah,
incredible producer, incredible musician, just all around great dude, man. You should. I need to link y'all up, man.
Let me know.
Maybe you can come do the show.
Yeah. But let me go back. So like in high school, you're playing at church. Are you gigging and stuff in high school and all that sort of stuff too? Like around the area.
Around that time, gigs was more like weddings.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Weddings and community choirs. Mm-hmm. So in the mix of that is when I kind of got into playing. I started MDing and playing with David Walker and High Praise, which is a gospel community choir out in Atlanta. I co-produced an album with him. Mm-hmm. Excuse me, his first album actually. I think. So that, and then doing that got me intertwined into the gospel scene in Atlanta. Yeah. And then when I started coming and hanging out more in Atlanta, going to Apache, and then getting in that scene, that brought about my entrance into the city.
Okay.
And getting gigs around the city. So, yeah. That was around probably like 17, 18 years old when I started kind of getting around here.
Got you.
Yep.
And so, like, when you're like 17, 18, you're like, you didn't want to go like the school route or do anything like that. Like, you just jumped into the scene.
I wanted to go to school. I wanted to go to Berkeley.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I wanted to go to Berkeley. But, and I think about this. I should have been a bit more outgoing, but I was from Ackworth. I'm from Ackworth, Georgia.
Okay.
I grew up in the country, man. I didn't know like city life and being away from my family. I'm a very close knit family type of person. Like I grew up around my family all my life. So
yeah,
for me, at that time, the thought of going from being with my people and being close to my people to going all the way to Boston by myself,
that was like,
I was just like, I don't want to do that, you know? And I didn't want to go to the other schools that were going to make me do all those extra classes.
Okay.
So
like the schools around here, you didn't want to do that.
So like going and doing the course, because I didn't like school anyway.
Okay.
Like, so the thought of going to school to do more math and more, I was like,
it wasn't fun.
I did that already. I don't want to do that for 2 more years.
Yeah.
You know, so I was just like, I think I can do this on my own. Like, so I just stuck with it, man. I went backwards. I learned a lot of stuff wrong.
Yeah.
And then once I got deeper into the music, then I realized, okay, there's some things here that can actually help me on the educational side of music. Let me go back. So that's when I went back and started kind of teaching myself, you know, more theory and, you know, just understanding my craft more from a educational theoretical level. So I did it backwards.
Hey, but you but you did it though. So man, so Tyler Perry play. Is that the only play that you did with him, or did you do more with?
No, that's
with
the only
him?
play I did with him. I did some extra work on a few of his movies because this was around the time when he was just coming into this whole movie thing. Like I was there when his first movie came out, and he was announcing that to all of his people when he went to Hollywood, and they shot him down, and he was like, "I'm gonna do it myself." So he funded his own. You know, I was there around all of that stuff. So I didn't do any more plays with him though. I did his brunch. I did the brunch at his house when he opened the studio.
Okay.
So I worked with him for a little while. I wish I could have cultivated that relationship a little bit more. You know, I talk about this to some people sometimes. You know, when you're in situations that are bigger than you, and you sometimes you see it and sometimes you don't. I didn't see who I was standing in front of, and I didn't realize the opportunity that I had to cultivate a relationship with someone that could help my career go even further. But you know,
because he wasn't Tyler Perry at the time. He was just that's Tyler.
He was,
you know, help him out with the play.
Super cool Tyler. Like, and I don't know him. I don't know him like that anymore. I don't know how he is, how much he's changed, if he's changed at all. But yeah, back then he wasn't the billionaire guy that he is now.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You know what I'm saying? Right. You know, he's extremely successful. Like, we all saw it coming.
Oh, you're right.
But he wasn't that guy yet.
I get it, you know, because you know, I guess it's hard to gauge, but also like you had a lot of stuff going on too, because you were producing and you were kind of playing with a whole bunch of other people as well.
But to be honest, for me, with the way I see it, I was just young and naive, and I didn't, I didn't grow up around a lot of business people. I didn't grow up around a lot of people that see life that way. Yeah. So it wasn't even in my thoughts to move of how I should have been moving around all of the greatness that I was around. Like, I didn't see it like that. I was just a little country boy that was glad to be like playing music for people that's celebrities.
Got you.
You know what I'm saying? It took a while for me to really see and understand the quality of people I was around and how to move. You know, it's very important to know how to move in the environment you're in to make the most out of it for yourself.
Oh, definitely.
You feel me? And I wasn't there yet.
Cool, man. Yeah. Cool. So after Tyler Perry, you're playing with who? You said Avery Sunshine right there after Tyler Perry?
So after Tyler, I came home. What did I start doing after that? I mean, it was just
work
after that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? People saw, and they saw what I was doing with the play, and then I'm around town a lot, so I'm playing and I'm just proving myself. To be honest with you, I'm just out here showing what I have to offer, and
I dig, yeah,
and work it, man.
Was it challenging going from, or like were there any challenges going from this one type of gig to another? Like, were there any barriers, like because like of course you're playing in all of them, but like the requirements are kind of different for whichever gig that you're doing at the time.
So that's a great question, because it makes me think of a space that I was in where I was working, but I was working and I was around a lot of the guys in the city that are respected that get a lot of the bigger calls.
Mm-hmm.
And I was around them, and they were watching me, they were paying attention, and they were telling me I was doing great, but they weren't calling me for anything yet. And I got a little angry about it. Like, I felt the way, because I was like, why are you, I guess it was maybe a sense of entitlement. These are lessons that I've learned, to not feel so entitled, because talent is not going to always get you there.
Right.
So, but anyway, I felt the way. So I said, at the time, a friend of mine, she called me to do Cafe Circa, Eva Kennedy.
Which is what? Because I actually don't.
So Cafe Circa was it was like a restaurant on, I think it's Edgewood.
Okay.
And they had a night where they had singing and music. I think we did Fridays and Saturdays. Mm-hmm. She called me. She asked me to do it. I wasn't doing anything. Mm-hmm. And at this point, everybody that I saw doing gigs in town was doing gigs in town like they were doing gigs in town, meaning they're going to bring one keyboard, they're going to play the song how they feel like playing it.
Just kind of half doing it, not really
they just
giving
gonna,
100%.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, I'm not doing anything else, and nobody's checking for me like that right now. What can I do different than everybody else that I see? I was like, I'm about to learn these songs like I'm playing them in a stadium.
All right, because I was going to ask about this. So, okay, all right, so go ahead.
I was like, I'm about to learn these songs like I'm playing for every artist that these songs are written and are written by. I mean, we're doing everything you can think of, from country to R&B to I mean, we're doing a little bit of everything. So I'm digging deep into these songs, and I'm digging deep into my equipment. Yeah. I got a Motif. Mm-hmm. I have a Phantom X6.
Okay.
Bro, I had these boards split every which way. Like, wow. I'm like, how can I get the most out of these two boards? Mm-hmm. So literally, if it's 6 songs in the song, if it's 6 sounds happening in the song,
yeah,
I'm set up and I'm playing everything.
Yeah,
I'm playing everything, and that taught me how to play parts.
Okay, got you.
That's how I learned how to play parts. That gig, it was like every week I was learning a new song. So I was, oh, let me split this board. How can I do this? I only got 2 hands. How can I figure out how to play all these parts?
Right.
I mean, there's some parts I'm playing 2 parts with 1 hand because of how I've configured the keyboard.
That is, I've seen you, bro. That's, if y'all scroll down T. Lee's Instagram, you'll see him playing along to records. But it's almost like you can't hear T. Lee because he's matching the record so correctly. Yeah. And that's like, you're probably the only person that I know that does it that strategically.
And the reason why is because every time I would talk to, MDs or other cats around the town and stuff that were doing the bigger gigs, their complaint was keyboard players not playing the proper parts.
Oh, okay.
Guys will play at the parts, and not only would they play at the parts, they were subpar in choosing in sound selection. Okay.
Like they wouldn't match. They wouldn't get close.
They're not even really it's their version of close.
Okay.
But what I've learned from doing that, the feel of a song is not just in the proper chords. It's in sound selection. When you listen to a record and it makes you feel a type of way, it ain't just the chords they're playing. It's the texture of the sounds that they're using. And a lot of cats don't pay attention to that. Yeah. But when I play and people hear me play stuff, I just did the boat. We talk about this. I just did the cruise. I just did the Capitol Jazz cruise. And some of the guys that were playing was like, man, the authenticity of how I approach the stuff, because I'm trying to recreate the feeling that everybody that loves these songs identify with. Okay. So in order to do that, my sounds have to be right, and my progressions and the way that I approach the voicings and everything don't have to be exactly. Yeah. But I do have to understand the feel of the music and the vibe of the music. And I had to understand chord structure to understand how I choose to voice still intertwines with the guy that played the record on the record.
Right. So you're trying your best to find that balance between playing the record and T. Lee's version of it, but still staying true to like what the artist wants.
Exactly.
Has that ever been a challenge for you because you played stuff too much like the record, and like maybe the artist that has hired you has been like, nah, man, do your thing?
No, because my approach is, I'm gonna learn the record. Yeah. But I'm not so constricted on my instrument that the only way I can play it is the way that I learned it. Okay. I'm gonna give an artist the record first, and when they tell me they don't want the record anymore, then I know I can go further than that.
So it's a gauging guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because the first time I did a gig kind of like that, I was kind of I had gotten kind of thrown into it, but I was like, I'm just trying to play it straight. Yeah. I'm just trying to play it straight. But then it was like, I think they might have like wanted like a bit more. But then like when I circled back around and played with them, I was like, I'm gonna play like myself. Like I'm gonna learn the song, but like then it's like, oh, now you sound good.
Because here's the thing, like for me, it's a lesson in every time I have to learn someone's music. Because when I understand what they played, it teaches me a different approach. To music, a different way to look at things. I know how I hear it. I know how I can play it. I understand my instrument. I understand what I hear in my own ears. But now I also understand what you were thinking or what they were thinking when they played it. So now I know sonically even, I can hear the types of chords that work within their approach. So I'm not going to go too far from that unless I know that's okay. Because the music comes first. So for me, I want to make sure, like I said, that people feel what they felt if it's a record you love, if I'm playing too far away from that, that's not it for me.
Then it's just not,
it's not the record anymore. Now, if I'm given the reins to step out of the record, I'm comfortable enough to step out of the record, but I don't have to step out of the record. And that also gives me discipline as well. I don't have to feel like I'm not doing enough if I'm just playing the record. And it also taught me to appreciate space in music. I don't have to fill up everything. I was playing, so I just did this Capital Jazz Cruise.
With who?
I had to play with the Jones Girls. It's an old school group. I had to play with Kirk Whalum. I had to play with an independent artist by the name of Tahira Memory, who's an awesome artist. I also had to play with Regina Bell, and I had to play with Mike Phillips.
That's a lineup right there.
Yeah,
that's a lineup.
It was crazy, and this is all different music that I had to really embody. That's one thing I really am adamant about. I embody who I'm playing for, and once again, all of these different approaches give me the ability to tap into different ways of thinking when I'm playing, different disciplines. So, but I had to play with Tahira Memory. And her vibe is a bit organic and soulish, neo-soulish type. So Lettucey was at that show. She came and she heard the show. Okay. So we're sitting in the eating area, and she walks up.
Lettucey walks up. Okay.
She walks up. She starts talking to us. She knows a couple of the guys that's at the table. So she's talking to everybody, and she's like, "Well, who are you? What do you do?" I'm telling her my name. I play keys. She's like, I don't like keys. I don't really like keyboards. I don't like keys because a lot of keyboard players always try to fill up all of the space. They play too much. So I have to have keys turned down in my monitor. I don't want any keys in my monitor. Wow. And then I'm a keyboard player. And then she was like, so who did you play for? Who you playing for on the boat? Yeah. I played with Tahira. She was like, that was you? Oh my God, you did wonderful. You were great. I was like, but you just said you don't like keyboard players. She's like, no, but you were perfect. Wow. And it was such an, it was so great to hear that from her, especially coming right after her saying she doesn't like to hear keys in her monitor because keyboard players play too much.
Wow. Huh.
Yeah,
it's almost like you really gotta like gauge out the gig, like because some gigs they want Zach to be Zach. Some gigs, hey bro, just play the song, keep it moving. I quick question: did you have to learn Nights Over Egypt for the Jones Girls?
I did.
You learned that? How long did I like that? I actually like that song.
I've played that before. I've played that line with Jeff Bradshaw.
Yeah.
A tremendous trombone player. I've played with him before. So, but stuff like that, it comes with me playing these parts and learning how to play these parts the way I have. So it wasn't a complicated thing for me. It just it makes sense when I see it, when I hear it, it makes sense. So it's not really hard, and that's a weird thing too, because stuff that seems, I don't know, complex, or the way that I identify with music now, it's not always a hard thing. Like, hard for me is like classical music and things like that. But when it comes to replicating these albums, the hardest thing is playing multiple parts.
Okay.
If I had to play one part at a time, that's not really going to be complicated for me. It's approaching everything at the same time and playing it by myself. And in so many cases, I haven't had the luxury of having two other keyboard players, one other keyboard player, even a lot of times playing with me. So I end up tackling 2 and 3 keyboard player parts by myself. That is the challenge for me, and that is what, for me, when it comes to playing, R&B and music that's less complex from a player standpoint.
Right.
The complexity is, that's where I get my fun from, playing multiple parts instead of the licks and the jazzy stuff. It's like, okay, how many parts can I play correctly at one time? How well can I do this and still be myself?
I dig it.
So, because I think it's important to find the fun in the simplicity of some things that we have to play as keyboard players. Because some of us get bored, and when we get bored, what do we do?
We try to add stuff, and we
overplay. We overplay every time, and that's what the artists don't like, and that's what gets you not on the
not
gig.
called the next time. I get that. Yeah. But now I had to. I learned Nights Over Egypt a couple of months ago. I had to play that, so I was like, "Ooh, Jones Girl." So I was like, at first I was thinking, "Oh yeah, you have to play Who Can I Run To?"
Now, so now, Nights Over Egypt. Let's talk about it.
All right, go ahead.
So, because there's a synth sound that's in the middle of the verses and everything being played that nobody ever plays. But it fills up a certain kind of space in the song. People may not miss it, but if it's there,
it's more like, oh, you did the thing.
He did the thing.
Yeah.
This is the kind of, and it was like, once again, I told you when I was on my mission, I said, how can I set myself apart?
Yeah.
Play the stuff that nobody plays. Play the stuff that's there, that's relevant, but nobody tackles it. They look over it because, oh, it's way back in the background.
Yeah.
But it's there, and it's there for a reason. There's a texture.
Yeah.
Like, I try not to miss important textures in songs. If I don't play it, it's because I don't have enough hands.
Okay.
That's the only reason why I'm not going to play it.
Right.
Yeah. And once again, it just makes you stand out. And it doesn't mean that you have to do it every single gig. But it's like having a drummer that can play like crazy, and you have him playing a regular 2/4, but you know that if you ask him to step out,
he can
do it.
Yeah.
So it's just about setting yourself up.
I like that.
Yeah.
So transitioning from playing with everyone else to playing in your own group, the Four Korners. So tell me how that kind of came about for the people that have been living under a rock and don't know who the Four Korners are. Tell the people, tell introduce the group, how that came to be, like your style and, your approach to that.
So the Four Korners is our version of jazz fusion.
Yeah.
Jazz fusion is a very technical type of music, but we don't have the educational prowess that most people have that play that, and I think that's one of the things that has given us the sound that we have, even though it's influential of a lot of the greats. Because we don't have that education, it comes from a very organic, internal place in terms of how we create it and what has influenced us. But it started with me. Like I said, I grew up in a very religious household, so a lot of music I didn't get to listen to.
Okay.
I didn't get into secular music, really, period, from jazz to R&B to anything, until I was probably 16, 17 years old.
Okay.
So when I got older and I could listen to jazz music,
Mm-hmm.
it was 91.9 like every time I got in my car, because at that time they were playing everything was abstract. It was the old school greats.
Yeah.
You know, and I didn't know about any of these guys. Like jazz was totally foreign to me. All I knew was church. So it started out me listening to jazz. Somebody turned me on to Chick Corea Electric Band. Mm-hmm. And the rest was history.
And there we go.
I in some kind of way, I identified with it because it was so creative and it was so out of the box for me. And it was like, there was no boundaries. And I was like, yeah, I just want to just be able to do what I want to do, how I want to do it. Mm-hmm. And these guys are doing this. Like, they're way out here. But it still made musical sense. So I would listen and I would listen and I would listen and I would listen. And a cousin of mine actually introduced me to James and Ike, because they're from Cartersville.
Okay.
And I'm from Ackworth, which is 10, 15-minute distance between each other.
Yeah.
She introduced us, and we didn't really kick it off at first, to be honest.
Oh, wow.
Isaac did not like me. We talk about this and laugh. Okay. We talk about this and laugh about it all the time. Oh, wow. He didn't like me.
Oh, wow.
He thought I was a jerk. But
wait,
I was, man. I ain't gonna lie.
Was that in a period you were kind of?
This was a different time in my life. Like, there's a whole other part of my life. Like, I ran the streets. You know, I ran with gangs and I hung out with drug dealers. And like, I was in the streets. You know what I'm saying? At a point, and I was still doing music. I was really living two lives, man. I was playing church on Sunday morning, and out throughout the week, I was with dope dealers and thugs. Like, straight up. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And that was, that's a whole nother conversation. That kind of sprung out of me just being in that sheltered lifestyle and coming out and just saying, I'm just gonna go out here and just do it. You know, so I was just living how I wanted to live. But yeah, I was a jerk.
Okay, yeah.
I could be a jerk. I was a nice guy too, but I could be a jerk. So he didn't like me at first. Me and James didn't really take too much to each other at all that much either. Some time went by, maybe like a year or so, and I think James came to the church that I played at, and after the service was over, he said, "Hey man, we should start hanging. We should just hang out."
Yeah.
And me being the type of guy that I was at the time, I said, "That's cool," but in the back of my mind, I'm like,
what?
Who is this lame dude trying to like, I'm riding around in a 76 Cutlass Supreme with McLean's and black tinted windows. Like, I'm a street dude. Like, I'm not hanging with who I would consider to be a square, which I considered James to be a square at the time. And we talk about this and laugh about it. It's like, I don't want to hang with this dude. But I was like, let's do something different. I had just kind of come into a different space in my life where I was changing. Yeah. My surroundings, real quick. I had gotten into some heat, and it only took me one time to get shot at, and I was like,
"You're like, nah,
yeah, I'm not really about this life. Like, I'm trying to live."
Yeah.
So he came at a time where it was time for me to shift. Mm-hmm. We started hanging, and long story short, we did a few things together, started hanging out more, and then we ended up at a church out in Dallas. Mm-hmm.
Dallas, Georgia.
Yeah. Victory Family Life, where youth pastor Anthony Murray, he had a youth service, and I was playing out there. I brought them on. Mm-hmm. And then I brought them. They got out there. We started playing there together. And then our first drummer, LeBron Rimmer, he came out there. And we just was like, hey, we all knew we liked this music. I turned them on. I turned Ike and James on to the Chick Corea stuff, the fusion. They got into it. They liked it. LeBron already was kind of hip to it. And we was like, yo, we don't get to play this. Nobody's doing this, and we don't get to play this kind of music. Let's just link. We started linking up at LeBron's house twice a week for like 8 hours a day. We would just play. Yeah. And we started writing. And this kind of started a little earlier than that. Let me go back just a little bit. Mm-hmm. Pete is another drummer. Mm-hmm. He's a really good friend of mine. He's a producer now. He kind of came along. He moved here from Florida. Yeah. But we weren't really established as a band then. We were still just kind of hanging out.
Okay.
The band didn't really start turning into what it was going to be until we started getting with LeBron at his house and doing those rehearsals. So we came up like What a Ride. What a Ride was the very first song. No, Premiere Canción, last song on the first album. That was the first idea that I came up with. Mm-hmm. And it didn't get finished for years.
Okay.
And then we came back around What a Ride. I think I conceived that, and me and Ike kind of put it together. Mm-hmm. And the rest is history. We just kept writing songs together.
Yeah.
We just kept writing songs together, and we would just get together and play this stuff over and over and over again.
Right, because y'all songs are super like like I'll say intense, but like you can't. This is not A section, B section, and go to the top. This is like if you haven't studied this song, you don't know it.
And we don't write. And we never write it with a format in mind. That's the thing. It's like the way the stuff gets written and why it comes out the way it does is because we really write it off of how we feel when what works and what feels good to us when we're in the writing, when we're in those writing sessions. So it doesn't always mean a bridge and a verse. It's not always coming back to back like a typical format.
Right.
Sometimes it does, and sometimes it doesn't, and that's because. For me, the influence of Electric Band and just Chick Corea in general, that stuff moves. It's like classical move. You think classical. Classical is always, the movements are always changing. Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of how I view that form of writing. It's like, it's a movement. It doesn't have to come back to this. Mm-hmm. Or, a friend of mine, he's like, man, y'all do one thing in a song, you never do it again. It's like, yeah, because that was that moment. It's there. It's gone. You know, it's good or it's bad. You like it or you don't like it. But either way, it's not something that has to always repeat itself. It's not typical. So, but yeah, man, it just evolved into what it is now. And how we got the first album recorded, I was recording for Lil Jon's album.
Lil Jon Roberts?
Lil Jon Roberts.
Okay.
We were
Lil Jon Roberts, the drummer from Atlanta. We've mentioned him before.
Yeah, he's actually from Philly though.
But he lives in Atlanta. But we just for the first time listener, not turned down for what Lil Jon. Just gotta let him know. Yeah,
Lil Jon, incredible incredible drummer.
Drummer, yeah.
I guess most known for his Janet Jackson run.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so we were working on his album. And that was crazy. Mm-hmm. I'm in the room with Pino
Palladino?
Oh, man.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
God, the sessions was crazy.
Yeah.
The session was crazy. I'm in the room with him and Chris Dave and Lil Jon. They're doing their thing together. And it was bananas, bro. But so we're working on his album. And Raheem Amlani is the engineer.
Yes.
And I'm talking to Raheem, and I'm feeling what he's doing. He's a great engineer. So I'm like, yo, what's your rates, Da-da-da-da. He's like, oh, yeah, I got a studio, and I'm charging this amount. I think it was like $50 an hour. I was like, if I can't get the guys, at this point, I had been trying to do a recording with the guys for the longest, but we could never get together on the business side of things. Money and
which is very important. Yeah.
Extremely important. Mm-hmm. So this was a crossroads because I said to myself, if I cannot get them to put the money together to do this for this amount of money, this is cheap.
Right.
If I can't get them to do this,
then we're done.
We're done. All right, and I presented it to them, and everybody was down. And that's how the first album, if it had not been for that, the Four Korners would not be. Because I was at my wit's end. I was like, I can do other things. I can do things on my own faster than I can do them with a group.
Definitely, yeah.
So that's how the first album got recorded.
Man, and then it just took off from there.
It just took off from there.
And then Portal of Gold and Phraseology, all the hits.
Yep.
Yeah, bro.
Phraseology was a song that was supposed to be, that was a song I wrote for myself.
Okay.
I did that song for myself because I wanted to do an album, but I was kind of procrastinating on doing it. And then I think we talked about recording a song, and I said, yo, let's do something that's different from what we do to showcase our versatility.
Right.
And I was like, I'm not doing nothing with this song, and it's a great song. Let's record this.
Yeah.
And that's how that happened. Yeah.
Man, and then like, since then y'all have been on tour with Sean Martin, who's been mentioned on here.
Yep.
Y'all did a whole thing like in Indonesia, I think. Where was that?
Yes.
Y'all did a whole like kind of residency or something over there.
So we went to Indonesia to play with an artist out there. He had done some work with J-Rod.
Okay.
J-Rod done some production stuff for him. But he knew about the band and he loved the band, and he had this event that he was going to be on, and he wanted us to come out there. So he flew us out there to really play for him. But in the mix of that, we were able to also do some things, individually or aside from him with the band as well. So
gotcha. That
was a cool run. Yeah, it was cool.
Can you say anything about any Four Corners music coming up this year at all? Is that something that you can say yet? Or is it,
I don't think. Yeah, Rod doesn't mind because I see he's mentioned it on his social media. We're working on his album right now.
Okay.
So we're working on an album with J-Rod. And
but it's not a Four Corners album.
It's not a Four Corners album.
It's a J-Rod Sullivan album.
It's a J-Rod Sullivan album with the Four Corners playing.
Corners. Okay. Yeah.
And we definitely are writing the songs in a way that we hope that definitely make sure that it's not, oh, this is still the Four Corners. Like, that's not what we want. We want J-Rod to have his own individual thing, man. So we're not sure exactly when it's going to be finished yet. But, yeah, we're definitely working on that for him. And we're working on some things for the band as well. I spoke to James the other day, and I'm actually going to be working on my own album as well.
Oh, let's go! Yeah, I've asked you about this. I'm like, bro, come on, man. Let's
I've been playing games for a long time, man. So
yeah,
and it's not going to be. I don't foresee it being a fusion album. I love music in general, man, and I've always been like one of my aspirations has always been to be versatile.
Yeah.
Which is why I like to, jump into all of these different situations because it keeps my mind open to understanding all of the different approaches that, that music affords us. So I'm not sure exactly what direction in. I'm kind of leaning towards I think it's gonna be a blend of smooth jazz, jazz itself, and I'm not gonna go the fusion route.
Yeah.
I just want to create good, well thought, meaningful, heartfelt music, man.
Yeah.
That comes from me.
Yeah.
My approach and what I feel and what touches me.
Yeah.
Herbie is a huge influence over my playing, and that's kind of an approach that I haven't outwardly shown.
Yeah.
In my playing yet, and in my releases. So yeah. I'm excited. I like
that. I like it. I'm looking forward to it. Got you. What's the worst gig that you've ever had, or the worst thing that happened on a gig?
Oh man, me and the guys talk about this. Me, James, and Ike.
Okay.
This was the gig that taught us the value of truly being prepared and learning a show.
Okay.
And learning music.
Okay.
We get called on a Monday or a Tuesday, I think it was. I get called. Hey, man, you want to do this 112 gig? Sure. Like, when is it? It's this weekend. When is rehearsal? Rehearsal going to be tomorrow. Bro, like, there's not enough time.
Like,
I don't have enough time to learn the stuff.
And how long is the show? The
show is like, I want to say that had to be like a 90-minute show, bro.
Oh, wow. So this is
long.
Yeah.
So it was in Rhode Island.
Ugh. Who's in Rhode Island?
It's like, it was packed. It was crazy.
Wow.
Yeah. So he's like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's going to be cool because everything's in the stems.
Okay.
Just learn the music. So, okay, I'm relaxing at this point. I'm like, okay, I'm going to learn the music. I'll be good. I learned the music enough to play the music with the stems, which means if something
happens, you can back out. The track is there.
But not only that, I knew it when I heard it. You see what I'm saying? So when I heard the stems, I was like, okay, I got it. Mm-hmm. But I didn't know it enough to not hear the stems.
To just like go off the
and
top.
Just be like, okay, this is the song we're in. We get to the show.
Oh no.
Rehearsal now. Rehearsal was great.
Rehearsal's good. You're rehearsing with the stems, all that stuff.
All of the guys were satisfied. 112 was like, y'all are killing it. Sounds wonderful. Everybody's hype. Everybody's ready. Mm-hmm. We get to the show. Number one, we're late. They're waiting on us. So we get there, and they're waiting on us. We got to rush to the stage. We get to the stage. First song in, first 2 songs in, everything's good. We're killing. Song 3. And from song 3, throughout the rest of the show, the only stems that were playing was drums. We still don't know how that happened. It's debatable as to whether or not we were sabotaged. You feel me?
So the other stems, which means all the other keys, the extra sounds,
gone.
Did y'all have cues? And y'all had cues in the stems or no?
We were being cued by the drummer because
got you.
And he was the MD.
Got you. But everything else, there's nothing else
Out
in
of
the
here.
track.
Out of here. Nothing.
That you could hear?
Nothing.
Was it coming in the house at all?
Nothing.
Wow.
Nothing.
Wow.
Q turns around. I remember Q doing all the dance moves. Yo, what's going on, man?
Yeah.
What's that? We're lost for an entire show, almost give or take 3 songs.
Dog.
Needless to say, we got fired
that night.
I mean, to them that night.
I mean, did they like call y'all in the dressing room? Like that's it?
Well,
or like y'all
no. They were like, man, it's okay, man. We'll do better next time.
And then there was no.
But there was no next time.
Yeah, we'll do better because y'all aren't on it.
There was no next time.
Ah, that's crazy.
You know what I'm saying? It was
crazy.
a harsh lesson learned. But from that point on, bro, and you know what? This is the kind of stuff that sometimes if you're not the guy that's diligent on your own, that's the kind of experience that you have to say, get it together. And that was our experience. Never again did I go to a show unprepared. I don't care if there's stems.
Never.
Now to rebuttal that, playing with Monica, we're in Detroit.
Okay.
And we had stems, and the guy who Peanut, he's a crazy drummer and an incredible programmer.
Yeah.
He's programmed the mess out of this show. The show's crazy. I learned everything that he put in them stems.
Okay.
We get to the show. Once again, first song. Everything starts great. 2 songs in, stems crashed.
That's what I'm afraid of. That's why I'm afraid of working with stems.
Stems crashed, bro.
Wow.
Monica didn't even know that the stems crashed. The whole show went on. Not a sound missed, not a moment missed, not a lick, not a transition. Everything was there. Me, James, Ike, and Peanut. We smashed the show.
You saved the day.
We saved the day. Because why? Because the 112 gig taught me to learn everything.
That is crazy.
Now, meanwhile,
yeah,
her singers were so used to the stems that when the stems fell out,
they crashed.
They were lost.
They crashed and burned.
They're looking at me like, what's going on? Like we're like the stems are gone. Y'all don't know y'all parts. Oh well, like we gonna keep it moving.
Did they make it to the next gig?
I'm pretty sure they probably did, at least for a little while.
Okay.
Because, quite honestly, I don't think she noticed that they weren't singing.
Okay.
Because the music and everything was so on point.
Got you.
But if I had not had that experience with 112, I might have crashed and burned with Monica too.
Man.
You know?
That's crazy.
So I learned my lesson.
Yeah. Top 3 keyboard players. Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy, bro. That's why I'm like scared to do gigs with like stems. And like when I'm in charge of a gig, I've yet to be in charge of a gig of that sort of. But I'm good. I don't want to. But also when you play with stems, like it's fine. But I'm like I'd much rather just play regular. Now having a click is cool.
Sometimes
like everything else is.
But sometimes you need those stems because of all of the stuff that's going on
true,
now.
True.
Like so I did what was it? New Edition. I had a week to learn like 27 songs.
You filled in for Jamin or something?
Jamin wasn't playing at the time.
Oh, okay. So this was
well before Jamin was even thought to be in the picture.
Yeah. Okay. Got you.
This was years ago. I want to say who was playing back then? Wizard. Okay. I think Wizard might have been playing back then. But once again, and this was a time when I was still one of the what ifs. Like, can he handle it?
Yeah.
You know, we're going to give him a chance because he does so well in the city, but we don't know yet if he can, you know, and they wanted to rehearse. I was like, I'm going to show them. We don't even need, the rehearsal was a run through.
For you, yeah.
For me.
Like, boom, I know it.
I'm ready. I don't want y'all thinking, if y'all didn't trust me, I want to make sure y'all trust me after this is over with. Ran through the show. You know what I'm saying? Knew the music. And they had stems, but it's nothing wrong with playing with stems. Just when you're learning, treat it like you don't have them.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
At that way, it doesn't make a difference whether they're there or not. So at that point, if anything, you're increasing the thickness and the bigness of the sound. If you choose to play what's in the stems, you can.
Yeah.
And if you don't have to, you don't. But if something goes wrong with the stems, you can pick up where the stems leave off.
Right.
So just learn the stuff like there's nothing there to support you.
Right.
And you won't ever have any issues.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it doesn't matter if the stems crash.
There we go.
Yeah.
Top 3 keyboard players. Top 3 national keyboard players, and then top 3 keyboard players that you know.
National. Top 3. I mean, God bless his soul, man. Chick Corea was my number one guy.
Okay, yeah.
Because he was, you know, unapologetic about how he felt and how he chose to approach music. Like, I just him, and then, of course, Herbie.
Yeah.
And I really put them two at the same because their philosophies were the same. Like, I learned so much from them listening to them talk more than I learned to transcribing them.
Yeah.
Because their philosophy and their thoughts on their approach to music is what taught me how to think and approach. It's what gave me the courage to be myself. So most definitely Chick, Herbie, Russell Ferrante.
Oh, I've never heard this name ever.
You've never heard, you know the Yellow Jackets.
Oh, got you. Yellow
Yeah,
Jackets.
yeah.
I've been told about the Yellow Jackets and like I've heard a little bit of them, but I'm not hip to them.
Oh no, man, you gotta.
He's the keyboard player from Yellow Jackets.
He's the keyboard player from the Yellow Jackets, and
Okay.
all three of them have their own different approaches.
Yeah.
Russell in particular, one of his big rules is not repeating notes. So the way that he voices things,
Okay.
is very unique, and it makes you just it made me think different about texture.
Okay.
His solos are good, but more than that, it's his
chord
his
voicings.
chord voicings. It's incredible. It's just it has so much depth to it, and intention.
Gotcha.
I love that about him, man. So those would be my top 3.
Top 3 national.
Nationally, man. I mean, there's tons more that I love.
Of course, yeah.
Those would be my top 3 nationally. And then you said what else?
Top 3 you know.
That I know. Phil Davis was my first major influence in the city.
Okay, yeah.
Because he was the closest person in proximity to me that stepped outside of the box to me with his playing. Like he was, you know, of course he's doing the breath controller.
Yeah.
And just his overall approach was very different from anything that I had heard at the time when I was coming up and when I was just first coming around in the city. So most definitely Phil has been a major influence. Kevin Bales, man.
Say Kevin Bales.
Kevin Bales is. I took lessons from Kevin for about a year. And oddly, what I was saying about Russell, the biggest thing I got from him was that. Not repeating notes and me learning and understanding chord voicings and chord structure better.
Yeah.
Not repeating notes really helps me to eliminate the clutter.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing I learned about him. But his playing, though, just sitting down watching him play when he would show me things, and a few shows that I seen him at, he's definitely one that I really admire as well in the city. And man, who else? I mean, of course, you got your Corey Henrys and you know these guys. I mean,
that's national. That's national.
Yeah.
The last one that you know. If you have to do 2 more to be safe, you know you can. But
Justin Gilbert.
I was like, I thought for sure that he was the one. That was gonna come
because
up.
now Justin,
Gilbert.
and Justin knew about Russell before I knew about Russell.
Yeah.
And Justin brought that approach to church when we played at Gospel Tabernacle.
Okay.
And I never could understand where he was coming from with this the way he played, because number one, I didn't understand any theory. Like everything was all ears to me, and ears and shapes. Okay. At that time. So now I get it. But yeah, I learned a whole lot from Jay, man. I learned a lot from Jay. Discipline and being able to play organ behind someone, and being able to sit in a pocket while someone else is the guy that shines. Yeah. You know, those types of things from just being in the room and playing together. So yeah, Jay, man, most definitely.
Gotcha. Yep. Cool. All right. You have unlimited budget, unlimited availability. You can build your own supergroup. Keys, guitar, bass, drums. You can do a horn section if you want to, but at least the core four plus a lead vocalist. This is either a show, a party, but you have everybody's available. You have the budget for everybody.
Man, that. There would be different reasons for that, but you know, I'm gonna go with my guys off top because I know the versatility that comes with us. See, now a lot of people kind of put us in a box and think that fusion is the only thing that we really play, but no, we can pretty much sit anywhere and be authentic because we love and we understand what the music needs. So I'll put my guys up against anything, man. I don't think there's anything that we can't tackle. You know, and there's nothing that we haven't been able to tackle. So yeah, I mean, there's tons of great people out here that I would love to play with as well, but I gotta put my guys on deck.
Gotcha. Four corners. So you, J. Rod Sullivan on drums.
Yep.
Ike Thompson on guitar.
James Thompson
JT
on bass.
on bass.
Yes,
gotcha.
Sir.
Are you gonna do horns or no?
Good Times Brass Band, bro.
That's the go-to. Yeah.
Mike Burton, Melvin Jones, Wilbert Williams.
I just thought about this. Hearing a Four Corners show, like Four Corners music, but with the brass section, I feel like would go. It would be on. What's my favorite song? Orbiting Hands.
Orbiting Hands.
Like at the end, at the end of Orbiting Hands. That would go. That would be crazy, bro. If you did like one show, like Four Corners with like horns and strings or something like that.
That's a good idea, man. That's a good idea.
You got it.
That's a great idea. I always have wanted to kind of expand those types of sonics with the band too, and just to see, you know. And I think eventually we may do something like that. Yellow Jackets did something like that. They used a big band with some of their songs that they had previously done as a
Four Corners with a horn section by itself. Yeah, but Four Corners with horn. I've been into like looking at people like with orchestras and like string arrangements. Four Corners with strings would go.
That would be crazy.
That would be crazy.
That would be crazy. You're gonna make me create a song that way.
Hey, bro.
That would, because
you could do like half new stuff and then do like half of like the hits. That's like Orbiting Hands, Portal of Gold. Yeah. You know, you do. Oh no, what's the one? Miracle Hand. I'm thinking It's the one that it features Ike.
Miracle Child.
Miracle Child. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, he wrote that for himself.
Yeah, but that one with strings behind. Oh yeah. All right.
Oh yeah.
All right, bro. Last thing. What do you want to leave with the people? Words of motivation. I feel like I know where you want to go with it, but I'm not gonna guess.
Now you got me.
Words of motivation. Words of wisdom. Last thing that you want to.
Man, you know, this would come away from just the music, man. Just be your best self, man, and be unapologetic about it.
Yeah.
You know, I spent a lot of time thinking that I needed to be somebody for others. In my music and just in my life in general. But from a musical standpoint, be yourself, man. Don't be afraid to be you. Learn how to absorb influences from other people and learn from the things that you enjoy listening to and learning from, but find yourself in your creativity and be that. And let it cultivate, you know, what it's going to cultivate in your career.
Yeah.
You know, of course, the business is a whole nother side.
Yeah.
Learn business.
Right.
Don't neglect business
Mm-hmm.
in whatever career you choose.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're just talented and you don't understand how the business works and how it moves, you're gonna only make it so far.
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking from somebody who knows.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I've made the mistakes, and I'm not proud of the mistakes, but I own the mistakes
Yeah.
because me owning the mistakes gives me the opportunity to speak to somebody else,
Mm-hmm.
to see somebody who messed up
Yeah.
and not make the same mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Got you.
Yep.
All right. Socials.
Chill3 is my IG. Clarence T. Lee Hill is gonna be my Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
Chill3, I think that's my WhatsApp as well. My TikTok is Chill the Third.
All right.
Yeah.
Whatever the main one is, you know
Yeah.
how
IG, man. That's the main
the
one.
IG, yeah.
Half of the other ones I don't even use.
Got you. All right, IG.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. Appreciate you coming on here. I've said this before. One of my favorite keyboard players, man.
I appreciate you, bro.
Appreciate you for real, man.
Real talk.
Yeah.
Now, the Four Corners too.
Yeah.
The Four Corners.
Oh yeah, follow them.
The Four Corners on IG. We're also on we have a website and we're also on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
THE the number 4
Mm-hmm.
Korners with the K. Yeah, go follow us, check us out.
Yeah, man. And y'all listen to the Four Corners' latest single, Arcade Nights,
Yes,
out on
sir.
all platforms and Phraseology. Oh, look at all of the Four Corners music, you know. But yeah, man, that's it. This has been another episode of the Major Keyz podcast. Keep pressing on. We'll see y'all next time.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, Doc.